Hello, Envision community. My name is Olivia, and welcome to our Cloud Architecture webinar. Joining me today is Charles.
Hello.
In this session, we are excited to showcase our cloud architecture. This is our hosted Envision option leveraging Amazon Web Services, or AWS technology. We began offering hosted services from the very beginning, so 20 years ago. And in September of 2020, we released some major cloud updates, which have allowed us to access even more functionality for our customers in the recent months. The intent of this video today is to inform and educate those currently using our cloud platform, and the same for self-hosted customers so they can see how the different offerings compare. We're excited that you're here with us today. And while you're watching, please feel free to use the Q&A feature to ask your own questions. We have questions that were shared by our community members in advance of this webinar, so we will start by going through those. There's also a chat feature, so if you guys would like to weigh in or say hello to us to let us know you're here, please do. So without further delay, Charles, who leads our cloud infrastructure team, will talk about the cloud architecture with us today. So Charles, start by telling us, what is cloud?
Sure. What is cloud? So, I mean, cloud's a term you hear quite a bit, but what our cloud platform is a modern, scalable system that's highly secure, highly durable, and it allows us to offer Vision Community in a way that allows our clients to not have to think about servers. Obviously, there are servers somewhere, but not only our clients not think about servers, but we don't have to think about servers. So, and I remember 20 years ago when we were doing this, I remember physically putting servers together, putting them on the racks. I'm very happy those days are over. I don't want to have to go back to worry about hard drives failing or power supplies failing. But the big thing about cloud is it allows you to leverage new technology and things to allow your community to grow in a way that you don't have to worry about the technology behind it.
Yeah, very good. So tell us, what are some of the advantages of using cloud?
Well, that is one of the biggest advantages. So you think about even just in the not too distant past, people had servers, VPSs, and cPanel licenses, and you had to think about backups, and you had to think about servers crashing. You had to think about security. Is someone going to attack my site or do a denial of service, or are they going to try to hack in? The list goes on. But using our cloud platform, all that goes away. Yeah. You don't have to think about any of that. You don't have to think about patches. You don't think about backups and hardware and things like that. The most important point there, though, is it means that time. The advantage is time. Because you don't have to think about those things anymore, you have the time to actually make your community better. You can engage with your members. You can think about new initiatives, marketing, the list goes on. So really, as with so many things in life, time is the advantage. And you don't have to worry about this stuff anymore. We take care of it for you. But beyond that, obviously, there's all the other great stuff too, new technology, new features and stuff like that. But I would really argue that time, stress, worry, all that goes out the window.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell us, how big is the cloud platform?
I saw this question and I think I know what they're asking, but that's a hard question to answer, because if you think about it in terms of servers, that's not really accurate, because what is a server? That's not really a thing in the cloud, but also a lot of services we use, like AI services or managed database services and things like that, aren't servers, or just a service. If you do think of in terms of instances on AWS, I mean, there are times we have 100, 200, but even that, I don't know what to say, because at any moment that changes based on traffic levels, based on lots of things going on. But it's, we host a lot of communities on our platform, a lot of very big communities with, tens and tens of millions of posts on one community. We host communities with over 1 million members on one community. So it's very scalable and it can handle that level of traffic. But how big it is depends on which way you're looking at the cloud, because if you look at the sky, it all changes depending on your angle.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how does Envision Community manage data within AWS? With all customers having unique third-party applications, how would you manage all cloud customers' data across all of the various web instances that are auto-scaled?
So when you talk about data, the web instances are not part of the equation. There's no data stored on web instances, so that's not really a concern. On the other side, our data is stored in a couple different ways. So we use Amazon Aurora, which is their sort of special MySQL service. And the cool thing about Amazon Aurora is it's scalable both in terms of storage and in terms of resources. So if we launch new communities and need more storage, it just does things. And even the beauty of me is like, I don't even know how it works. I don't need to know how it works. It just does. But it can also scale the resources. So we get more traffic on a community or it needs more database power. It can scale the resources on the back end as well. And as far as like from third-party applications, things like that, the way third-party applications work is, there's a lot of shared infrastructure that all, because, regardless of what your community is, everybody needs the basic systems to make a Envision community work. Third-party stuff, of course, is custom, and we never know what a user is going to be inputting into the community. So those kind of things are isolated in their own little kind of area. And so when the community loads in that data, it loads in its shared resources that all Envision communities use, and it separately loads in it from its little kind of, over in the corner, so to speak, sort of thing. It loads in any third-party custom data and puts that together. The reason being is because third parties can do anything, and that's good, that makes it extensible. It can also be dangerous. Someone may, not always in a malicious way, but someone could accidentally do something that could mess up your community. Well, that should only affect that one community, and that's the way it works. Is that is isolated where it can't touch the data or the processes of our community.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. How do you roll out platform changes within the cloud? And is there common code base shared amongst users, which you've touched on that a bit?
Yeah, it's kind of what we get to. It's both. So if we release a patch, for example, we change one thing and thousands of Envision communities on our platform instantly have it, which is wonderful. If we do a security update, or if we do a critical bug fix or something like that, it's wonderful that we can just press a button, boom, they all have it. Everyone's happy, everyone's good. That's wonderful. So that's kind of how we do it behind the scenes. There's a lot of shared resources. There's also a lot of code in the cloud version of our platform that's not in the self-hosted version, and the other way around. There's stuff in the self-hosted version that's not necessary in the cloud version. There's a lot of stuff that the self-hosted version tries to guess what's going on that we can strip out because we know what's going on in the cloud. Kind of like how Apple Mac OS is designed to work on Apple hardware. It can eliminate all that extra fluff. So we have that advantage there too.
Gotcha. Yeah, super cool. So how are backups managed? Are there any plans to allow users to self-generate backups?
So there's a lot of things going on with backups. And actually, interestingly, just earlier this week, we implemented a new backup system for our media upload. So if people upload videos or images or whatever. We used to do a more traditional, like a daily snapshot sort of thing for those. And actually earlier this week, we deployed a new system where it instantly backs up. So every time you upload anything, it instantly makes a replica of that in a write-only place where it sends the backup over. So that's a great way so we can say things are instantly, constantly being backed up. And that's part of what makes the cloud platform so great is behind the scenes, we're always making these improvements. Yeah. We don't usually even announce them because, it's interesting to those people watching this sort of video, but people, all they want to know is that backups are happening, and they are happening. But what it's nice to sometimes convey is that we're always making improvements where, you used to back up once a month. Now you're backing up instantly. And, these are huge improvements that you make over time. And, but to answer the question more directly, on the database side, there's 2 layers of backups that happen. So that's there. The question was about self-generating backups. We do not have plans to do that because the way it works right now is if you want to back up, just to be clear, your data is your data. anytime. Users can ask us to generate backup and we'll send it to you. We don't, we don't hold that back, but we do like people to contact us because we want to verify that you are you. Because it's you gotta be careful with that, because if someone were to impersonate you somehow and just on the fly generate a full export of your data, that's dangerous, and we gotta be careful with that. So we've thought about doing it, we've always decided not to, because we'd rather have that one extra step there just to verify that it's a real request.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So what sort of security does Envision Community leverage to keep customers on cloud safe?
So much. I don't know where to start. Obviously I can't talk about it all because that would be a security risk in itself, but at a high level, there's the things you would expect. We have a firewall in place, we have CDNs in place, we have load balancers in place. So by the time you actually get to our actual areas that can execute and fetch your data, you've gone through like 4 different layers of systems to get there. Our firewall is a big deal. It's very powerful. I think the record, if I remember correctly, is this was maybe 6 months ago or so. We had somebody had a denial of service attack on one of the communities we host. And in 1 minute, I think the record was that our firewall blocked 34 million malicious requests to our system. And that's a lot. But the point is, cloud did not go offline. Nothing was compromised. The only thing that happens, we got lots of alarms from our firewall saying, hey, something's going on. And we were like, well, it's working. So everything was great. So we really like that we have those capabilities through AWS's very powerful systems in place. And AWS is great with us. They, we have an account manager there that helps us with things that, because we're doing unique stuff, and that's really helpful too. The other thing with security, and we do other things you kind of expect us to. We have, all data is encrypted in transit and encrypted at rest. All that is there too. That's a big deal. And so you have that security, and then there's other things that are transient data is never stored. For example, our who's typing, who's viewing indicators, that data is not stored anywhere. It's broadcast out from the browser, through our system to the receiver. We don't store that data anywhere. So we try to always think of that in mind. If we don't need the data, then it's much safer and more secure than to not save it. Just take the data in, do what you need to do, and then get rid of it.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for sharing those things. Another question, does Mark Stringen, who is a member of our customer support team, does he do all of the cloud imports? And tell us about converting to cloud.
Yeah, well, for those of you who don't know, Olivia is the one when you come to sales and you ask, hey, I want to switch from self-hosted to cloud, you may talk to me or someone else, and we figure all this out for you. Then it gets handed off to Olivia, who handles all of our organization in-house to decide what's going on. I think this question probably came up because we've been doing a lot of self-hosted to cloud conversions, and we do tend to have Mark do it because it's just easier to have one person who knows. He's got it down to a science now. We have a system in place where he can create these little sandbox environments where we can take the external data, process it, then import it into our infrastructure. But yeah, I would say probably most of them.
He does most of them. We're in a good groove, and we just keep sending him his way, and he does them, and it's great. So yeah, so you're in good hands with Mark. So yes, he does do many of them. So can you, Charles, talk more about the technology powering our AI image processing, which is one of our new features this year?
Yeah, so for those who don't know what that is we call it, they use AWS, Amazon Web Services recognition, which is one of their AI services. And what it does is when you upload an image to Envision Community, it passes through the AWS recognition. And this is another one we're very careful. We don't save that anywhere. We get the data, we process it and then delete it. So but we try to be very aware of that sort of stuff. But what it does is two things which I think are great. The first thing it does is it tries to figure out what we call labels, what the image is, what's in it, which is super useful for search results and for accessibility. So someone's using a screen reader or something like that. So if someone uploads a picture from Apple, AWS recognition, oh, that's an apple, that's the label. And then we don't show that, but it's in the metadata. So like the screen readers can see it. and our search system can see it. And the idea is that if you search for Apple in the community, even if no one typed the word in a post, that image is going to come up, which is really, really, really powerful. The other thing it does is moderation labels. So AWS has various categories of like, is this pornographic? Is it suggestive? Is it violent? Things like that. And the AWS recognition returns a confidence score. That's how AIs think. And then Envision Community, based on your rules, can decide, should we reject the image or should we moderate, put it in the moderation queue, that image. So that's really great too. So clients who use this really like it, particularly their legal teams really like it because it reduces liability if someone's going to upload something inappropriate. But particularly for clients who target their communities to a younger audience, it gives them that extra peace of mind to know, it's not perfect, AI is not perfect, but does a pretty good job of stopping things that they don't want in their community. And clients who use it really, really, really liked it.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. So in early 2023, we will be launching a new feature that we are calling Live Topics. So the question that I have is, how will Live Topics work?
Well, I don't want to get too deep in that because we do have our December chat coming up, which is going to be a year review / preview of 2023. But I'll touch on it a little bit. So Live Topics is going to be something where, so let's say we're doing something like this. You're doing a YouTube Live or Zoom or whatever you're doing, webinar sort of thing. Rather than using Zoom's Q&A or YouTube's chat or those kind of things, you could use Live Topics on your own community. So you'd have a chat component and then you'd have a question answer component. So if someone asks a question in the chat, a moderator can slide that over and answer it there. What makes Live Topics unique in this, and you're going to hear us talk a lot about this for 2023. So I guess I'm about to launch into what's going to be December chat. So hey, preview. You're going to hear us talk a lot about real-time engagement, but through the lens of a community platform. And what I mean by that is social media is really great at real-time engagement. That's what it's for, like something like Twitter. What's happening right now? What's trending right now? What we do is better at long-term conversation. You need both of those. They're both very important, but what we're trying to do is put that together. So something like Live Topics allows you to have that real-time engagement in your community. But then when the real-time event is over, when the event's over, like this webinar is ended, not everyone can join the live event while it's happening. Someone could come in, watch a recording of the video, follow along the live, the topic, see the questions that were answered. And then maybe the next day, or the next week, or the next month, could ask another question and keep the conversation going, which is our strength. So we're trying to put this together, that live engagement, which is super important, but then that ongoing conversation, which is also super important. So that's something you're going to hear a lot. It's something we're very excited about. Clients we've talked to about are, they really are engaged in this because like that's exactly what we need. We need that ability to engage people in the moment, but not lose out on the people who may be busy when you happen to schedule your webinar. You want both, and that's what we're trying to give you.
Yep, I love that. That will be so exciting. And yes, we will talk so much more about that coming up in our next webinar. So along the lines of Live Topics, do you want to talk about other features that are available on Cloud as well?
Yeah, I can touch on a few. So we have our trending feature. This is another one where trending is right here, right now. It's not cached, it's not delayed. It's literally what are people interacting with in your community right this second. But we also have the historical component. You can also put what was trending yesterday or last week or last month. So again, it's another one where we try to have both. And I think that's a very powerful thing that our platform offers. Now, we talked about AI images, we talked about Live Topics. We have the who's viewing, who's typing, which I love that feature because when I'm on communities that we serve on our platform, I love to see other people are also reading it. Other people are engaging. It doesn't make you feel alone. Makes the community feel more alive. Love that one. And then I'll do two. So one thing we're actually adding, we haven't announced, is GraphQL, which is a new API method. The cool thing about GraphQL, it allows customizations within the platform without having to write PHP code or traditional applications or plugins. You can actually do things through the interface to customize your community, which is super powerful. And then the other thing we're doing is this is actually done. We're not releasing in December because we never release things in December because that's always a bad plan. But our gallery feature has received a huge update. Tons of new features, brand new interface, lots of new capabilities, much more streamlined, much more engaging. And one thing we did add, and that's for everyone, but the one part that is on our as a cloud only feature is if people upload videos, we are now re-encoding them into a universal format. The example would be, so if I'm an iPhone, I record a video, I upload it, great. But sometimes people on Windows or Google Chrome or different other platforms can't play that without special plugins, and it causes all sorts of confusion. So now what it'll do is say, okay, this is an MOV file, we're going to re-encode that to MP4, and then we use HTML5 native players so you can bounce around the image just like you could on, the video, just like you can like YouTube, and also extract stills from the video. So instead of just a black box with a play button, you actually get a still from the video, just like YouTube does. So it's much more engaging. So that's something we're really excited about. But that's, again, something you could never do even a few years ago. If you came and said, oh, we really like to re-encode videos on the fly, I'm like, I have no idea how we'd even do that. But now with our cloud architecture, we can, you can upload an image, a video, and you don't even know what's happening. And behind the scenes, it'll re-encode that video to something everyone can play, which I think those kind of things are super powerful from a technical perspective, but they're really great for community engagement because your users, they just share the video and they move on and they don't have to know the stuff that's happening behind the scenes.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Well, Charles, thank you for going through all of those questions. Do you have anything else you want to cover in general about cloud? I
would just say, I could talk about this all day. We didn't want this video going for hours. If people have more questions, please ask them. I love talking about this kind of stuff. If we want to do one where it's much more technical, we can do that too. I didn't want to get too deep in this call. But I will say that, clients who use our cloud platform really enjoy being able to focus on the community and not thinking about servers and bandwidth and backups and all the kind of things that I guess I think about on their behalf now.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. Well, thank you, Charles. Thank you for going through those questions with us. Thank you so much for watching, you all. If you have questions, like Charles said, please feel free to reach out to us via our community support forum. We would love to hear from our self-hosted and cloud-based customers alike. If you are a cloud customer now and you have cloud questions of your own, let us know. If you are a self-hosted customer and you have questions as you compare your existing setup to our cloud-hosted offering to see if you can save money and save that time to ultimately determine if switching to cloud is an option for you, please reach out to us. You can use our Contact Us form on our website. Our sales and our customer service teams are talking to customers daily, answering questions specific to their setup to help them, make that decision. So don't be hesitant. We are happy to help you too. I am happy to help you. So we look forward to hearing from you. So a few additional reminders before we go. Stay tuned for more upcoming classes, chats, and webinars, including our next 2 scheduled events. So as we mentioned, we have a December year in review and 2023 preview chat where we will talk about what we delivered in 2022, why we chose those deliverables, and then also what we have planned for 2023. That is going to be a fun interview style chat starring Charles and also Matt. And that'll be hosted on December 1st. So do feel welcome to join us. Following that special chat, we will host a call on content curation that'll be on December 15th. So you can see those events and be able to RSVP right on our community. If you have suggestions for other topics or features that you would like us to showcase, please feel free to let us know. We'd love to, hear what you'd like to hear from us. So thank you for watching, and ultimately, thank you for using Envision Community, and we'll see you next time.